Hey, hi there.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
Great, great. Hey, hi, Franca.
Hi.
Hi there. Great to see you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So, unfortunately, this application doesn't have any names on the streams. So it's a kind of I will write down the names for myself, but it's pretty convenient if you have the names in front of you all the time. It's not the case, unfortunately. Let's see who is joining. I think we have like 4 people right now. Dong is also, he wrote that he will be joining later. It's okay. Otherwise, I would suggest that we will start because it's 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. in Germany at least. So I will start with myself. My name is Karen. I live near Nuremberg, exactly in somewhere nearby. I will pass the word to the next one. Who want to introduce himself, yourself?
Ladies first.
Okay, so I'm Franziska. Hi, and I'm not from well, I'm originally from Franconia, but I'm sitting in Berlin, and I joined this call because I saw that Karen had put something up, and yeah, here I am. So
Okay. Great to see you, Franziska, here in the stream.
Excellent. Hello, my name is Jens. I live nearby Nuremberg, and I'm just curious about a startup scene in Nuremberg, and I would like to meet some people and see what's going on in the startup area.
Okay, Jens, welcome to Nuremberg.
Cheers.
Who else want to introduce himself?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear
Hello.
you. Yeah.
I think we still
Okay.
got.
Am I okay? Then I will just introduce myself. I hope the other one are
Yeah.
hearing me also. Okay. So I'm Emerick, living in Erlangen. I'm software
Yeah.
architect, and I'm also really interested in anything going on in the startup area. And hopefully, I will learn something new or find some new opportunities. And this is just why I'm here. So I'm looking for things, hearing, and hoping to find something that I can hold on and so on.
Okay.
Mm.
I don't know if it's like generally a problem with the connectivity, or is it with your connection, but somehow the connection is not really good. I could barely hear you. Emmerich, right?
Yes. Okay. I don't know what is the
Okay.
problem. Um, and I don't know if the other one was able to hear me.
I heard you. Very good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were
Okay.
hearing you.
Then it's the okay. Hmm.
Okay, cool. So I think we still got one more person, but he's muted or she's muted. So I would suggest that we will start. It's a kind of brand new group here. What's going on? It's a kind of new and not new because it was existing for 1 year, I think, but it never took place not a single meetup. I joined the group some time ago, and I got a notification about 3 weeks ago that the group will be closed because the organizer stepped down. And I was pregnant with this idea to run an open group of same-minded people, entrepreneurial people. Um, so I took it over, and and I want just to share a couple of ideas how we could proceed with this group and what would be the aim of the group. And I will try to share my screen now, like this.
Okay, thank you.
So can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Let me know once you see it.
Karen, it says you have connectivity issues.
Oh, that's me that who has a connectivity issues. Okay, I see. That's strange. Maybe so basically you don't see my screen, anything from me, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
and we also don't see your picture. Your
yeah.
camera isn't on, or it doesn't seem to be on.
Yeah, but what is it now? Can you see my picture from the cam?
Nope.
No,
It's
only black. Yes.
So was it black all the time, or is it just
No. You were
since a couple of weeks?
you were having a gray screen, and we cannot see your shared slides nor your camera. So it's just it switches between black. Now it's went to gray again. That's it.
Oh, that's terrible, actually.
I had somehow issues at the
Okay.
beginning with the connection, and I just changed the browser. I don't know if it might help for you, but
Okay, that's a good idea, actually. Because I'm using Opera, which is not a very popular browser. I will just give me a second. I will switch to Chrome. Maybe it will be better.
this is exactly what I did.
Okay, just one moment.
From Firefox to Chrome. Okay.
Now we see you.
Oh, that's
Chilling in the
amazing.
sun.
That's great. Cool. So let's try again with the sharing of the screen. Maybe it will work this time. So one lesson learned, yeah, I should use Chrome.
Well, it
You
just
already
turned
have
black
one
again.
Use my screen
achievement.
now.
Oh.
Can you
You're
see it
still
now?
having
Okay.
connectivity.
No.
Karen, you're having
Connectivity.
connectivity issues again.
Okay. I see. But you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Now we can see your picture again, yes.
Let's stay with the pictures then. I'm really sorry for this kind of problems. I will just read from the notes which I just wrote 15 minutes before the start of this conversation. And the idea was is to have a group of same-minded people, and in a sense of being same-minded, it is with the purpose to create an own business, but not just a business, because you could have different kinds of businesses, or I would classify all businesses generally in two categories. One is a product-based, and another one is a consulting-based. Basically, with a product-based, you create some kind of product which you market. There are some kind of consulting also afterwards involved, and kind of service. Whenever you have like customer service for your product, customers will approach you and you will have to deal with them, right? But the focus of this kind of business is to target on creation of a product. And the second type is a kind of no-brainer. You have the skills and you are offering your skills, and some people need your skills. So it's a consulting. You just charge them for your time, for your work. This is not what I'm really very excited about, because I mean many people are doing it. I used to do it also myself at some point, but it's not scalable. The consulting is not really scalable. You have only 24 hours a day, and your amount of skills is also finite, and everything related to this, the things, whenever you start to develop a product, it is perfectly scalable. And nowadays, especially with kind of cloud computing, with the technologies nowadays, it's even more so. So I tried both things. Basically, I tried also. Hey, hi Vlad, welcome. After but people would come. For some people, it's perfectly okay, and I don't have problem with this. But for some people, over time, they will come to a conclusion that it's also not a kind of great solution for them, because you're just exchanging your time for money. It's a kind of it's the concept is very similar to consulting. But with consulting, you can have like higher salary if you want to. You can just find better customers. With the employment, you can also like in 2 years time, 3 years time, you can change employer or department or whatever. You will get slightly more money. You can develop yourself over years and yeah, get better payment. But it's not only about money. Money is just a it's a side thing, you know. For many people it's the main goal. It's not the main goal for myself. uh, it's a combination. It's a kind of thing what you could merge by earning money and living your passion. And I know many people who are very famous and who achieved the big goals in their lives, and they were always preaching like do the stuff you really love, because at some point you will have difficulties in your stuff, and if you are it's not something you're crazy and passionate about, in most of the times you will just give up at some point if it's really too hard. uh, Very driven people, in most of the cases, they will not give up. They will just go on and on and on until they achieve some success. And it's not being stubborn. It's being dedicated, being in passion with the stuff you do. And yeah, this is like this combination, doing stuff you really love, you're very passionate about. You have most of the times also very uh, deep knowledge about this domain, what you are doing, and also earning money with this and developing a product in this department. Because, as I told before, with the consulting, you can only go so far as to working like 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day. And also, there is a different thing about having and developing a product and providing a consulting services. Because whenever you provide consulting to someone, you are taking care of their problems. Oh, we have some kind of noises going on. Um, can you hear me well?
We can hear you. I
Okay,
can
great.
hear you at least. Yes.
Okay, great. So we will continue. Consulting, it's about taking care of somebody's problems. I mean, it could be the same with the product development, but with consulting, every now and then, somebody will be approaching you with their, in most of the cases, like completely new problem, and you will get involved into this. You know, take care for them for their stuff. Um, and it's also okay, but I compare it to like having your own children, or if some people are not capable for some reasons to have children, it's understandable, but then you can adopt them, for example. And another consulting to me is something like doing a babysitting your whole life without your own children. Like you don't have what is also perfectly okay for people like who are working in kindergartens, for example, and stuff like this. We need this kind of people. But this group is not about uniting the people who are passionate about consulting, but it's more like, and you know what? You can start always with the consulting. You can even start with normal employment, especially like very fresh people or just out of the university. In most of the cases, like in many cases, they don't have an idea for any product. They just want to uh, gain some experience, some grow some network, and this kind of stuff. But it's also perfectly okay. But at some point, being at some job, because you will be going deeper in some domain, and hopefully you will be doing what you like. Otherwise, it's a kind of pain if you are being employed somewhere and it's not really what you like to do, but you do it for money. And at some point, you will be. I think many people are struggling nowadays with this type of jobs. Uh, yeah. So this is the idea. The target of this group is to bring people together around Nuremberg and also worldwide. That's why we are starting today with a kickoff meeting online, not on site. What one of the following meetups will be also on site. I will try. It's also one of the aims of this group is to be very much newbie friendly. It means we will try to record and log everything what's going on as far as it's possible. I mean, probably we will miss something, but the reason for this is not just to show up, but just to make this entry for the newcomers easier, because they can always go back and check what was going on, what we were talking about. Um, yeah, like this. This is just general idea about the group. Do you please share your opinions? What do you think? Is it like something what you can associate yourself with? Is it something interesting for you, or am I like completely talking bullshit here? So, guys and girls, any ideas? Is it what you
Well, for me, it's
expected
fine.
to see, or is it like
For me,
completely?
it's fine to have an exchange and to see where everybody goes or what questions show up or what issues show up. So I'm looking forward to continue. Thank you.
Okay.
Karen, you made a great point about the whole thing of we only have so much time in our day, right? One of the reasons why I joined this call is I recently got my Gewerbeschein, so I will start my new job next week, my new full-time job, but I will also consult a bit on the side, which I hugely enjoy, helping people along the way. I've done it in between jobs now and had a great time doing it, but I also know that my time is limited, right? And there are so many questions basically is how to get work, how to maintain it, how to establish long-term relationships with this when it's consulting, and this is a central question that I've been asking myself for at least for 3-4 years, where I always had this concept in my mind that I was going to create a course and that way multiply my teaching that I've been doing, and it's how can I turn sort of my entities that I have within the day into something that automates itself, where I don't always have to be present and I don't have to sit down and actually do the stuff, where I can have things work for me. But I think, as you said, it's the logical second step. It's especially when you start out. I've been doing freelancing intermittently in between in the last years, but this is the first time that I'm really like, okay, I'm doing this in a business sense, and I feel that this natural progression and evolution is okay and it's good, but at the same time, obviously, we also need to think smartly, and especially when you're new to entrepreneurship, there are so many questions that you have, and where I find it helps immensely to exchange with people that have been down on this path, where I can throw in my worries, sorrows, whatnot, and also have other people where I maybe have an expertise. So that's how I look into it. And one of the things that might be interesting is to have themed calls so that people, as you said, all over the world can join. And you can actually look at one specific topic instead of sort of bundling it all up in one call. I think that would be a really cool way to go forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just writing it down. Themed calls, just to pick up a topic and have a discussion. Like maybe start with a presentation on some specific topic and have a discussion around it. Absolutely great idea. Yeah, I just wrote it down. We should do this kind of stuff, and for people who are entering this world of entrepreneurship, is definitely there is a lot of stuff. There are a lot of stuff to learn. And yeah, I just want to stress it. Don't please, people, don't get me wrong. I'm not against uh, being like
Hello?
doing consulting. Yeah, can you hear me, guys and girls? Great. Yeah, it's not against consulting. I did it myself like for some time, and actually a lot of enterprises, a lot of product companies, at some point they were doing consulting, like their founders at least, and through this consulting they came, they saw kind of pattern with many customers, and they also realized that like I'm doing the same, almost the same thing for one and second and third customer. Why not to automate it? Why not to make it like kind of bring this pattern together? And that's why, and that's how they came up with the idea to create a product, a service, a website or app or whatever you could think about. And I should stress nowadays, this business scheme of creating a SaaS products is really very attractive, and it seemed to work really well. For people who don't know what SaaS is, SaaS stands for, it's written SaaS, it's a software as a service. It's a kind of part of cloud computing. If you think of Gmail, for example, it would be a perfect example for SaaS kind of businesses. And how like maybe we can just in today's call, the aim would be is just to introduce ourselves, just to start with something and to gather some ideas. And I just wrote a couple of notes before the call, and I want just to throw a couple of ideas at you and maybe have a discussion. So basically, if we talk about creating products, web-based or SaaS-based products, there are different business models. Oh, hi, Choya.
Oh,
Welcome. Yeah, in the right time. We are talking about money now. Yeah. So whenever we would talk about how to earn money, there are different possibilities there. And I was doing some of them in the last 10 years of my own company and my own products. One opportunity would be is to uh, provide a service which is highly popular and visited by many people, uh, where you would put an advertisement or kind of links or banners or something like this. Maybe not many people know, but if you have like heavily popular service, you can really earn a lot of money by just placing advertisement, and you have, if you want, you have a freedom even not to charge your customers, like people who are actually using the services. So basically you can provide it for free, and you will get your money from the partners who are placing the advertisement. And there are this market was wildly diverse many years ago, but I think about 15 or 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, it was heavily consolidated by Google with the AdSense program, where Google would be the man in the middle between the publishers and advertisers. And we used to work, and we are still working with Google like for the last 10 years in our own company, which is called Freeware Lovers GmbH, where we create this kind of free services, highly popular websites. We put them there out there, and a lot of people, like thousands of people, are visiting them, and we just placing advertisement, banner advertisement, and getting money from Google. Google takes about 30% of the cut from the whole thing. Up to 50%, I think it goes, depending on the type of advertisement. And yeah, this is like how this thing works. This is one type of things. And when I'm listing these types of income which you could generate with your products, it's not just only that you have to stick with one type or one source of income. You can actually mix them. You can have a mixture things. Another very big thing is actually it's called affiliated marketing. It's whenever you deal with some kind of other products like some goods or some services, some third-party things which you would recommend to someone, or uh, yeah, something like this. So whenever you send some users to some third-party products or websites, you can in most of the cases you can have your own cut from this kind of reference, and it can go really up to almost like 90% of the price of this product that you will get because of the referring. In with companies like Amazon, you could get starting from 1% and I think up to 5% of the price of a product which you recommended. And think about this kind of services, like there are so many products nowadays, like and different services available, and people in many cases are very frustrated about them. If you would kind of create a system which would analyze the demands of the users and recommend them like very tailored solution for them or a product to them, and just exactly reference them to this exact product and they would buy it, you will have your cut there. This is like all in all, it's called affiliated programs or affiliated marketing. It's also even like people who get it sorted out. It's a little bit more complicated than just placing banners, but people who figured out how it works, how the system functions, it works really very amazingly for them in most of the cases, and they have much more opportunities to earn much more money with this kind of stuff. And the third thing is you can always have specifically when we are talking about SaaS services or SaaS products, you can have memberships also. You can have different types of memberships on your services, on your websites, where you would also charge some monthly payment or a yearly payment from your customers for providing them some services. This is just another model, which is also there are many services which are non-free. It means to start to use them, you always have to uh, take out your credit card, register with them. Maybe they have different plans, which cost different amount of money per month. But I very much like these systems which are called freemium. It means you would provide, and I will tell you why is it so beautiful and nice. You could start with a very basic kind of service which you would provide to your customers on a completely free basis. It would be just completely for free, but it's kind of limited. Um, Whenever customers or people or prospects are getting accustomed to your product, like they enjoy it, like the free version, but maybe at some point they would need more services or more features from you, from your product. Maybe they will just switch to paid plan. And you can have different types of paid plans, like businesses there. It's a kind of almost no-brainer that businesses would almost always go for a paid plan, and maybe for the heaviest or the most expensive paid plan. Uh, Private people who are just doing some stuff, using your service just for hobby and stuff like this, uh, it sometimes they will go for a paid service. In most of the cases, probably they will stick with the free service. But then, if you have this kind of customers who are using your services for free, you could also, like within their cockpit or within their space, you can put also advertisement. You can also put your affiliated links there. So basically, it will be they will be earning you money not directly but indirectly using some other programs which you could. This is what I was talking about. You can mix the things. And I think there is a fourth kind of scheme which I just forgot right now. I think I didn't wrote it down, but maybe I will come to it a little bit later. Yeah, this is like what I was thinking about whenever, right now I'm also working on a product which in this case it's called websniffer.cc. It's a kind of website which just mostly for developers. It provides some insights of some other sites, which will just go to another site, grab some information, something usable to them, and present it to them in a nice form. It's completely free now. It runs on banners, and we have banners going on there. Its amount of users is not really huge yet. It was going on like for 2.5 years. I think daily we have like up to 500 people visiting this service, what is not really very much. But we also got within our company, we got some other web-based services which are way more visited. Like we have one service which is visited, like several thousands of people are visiting it. They're all free. Now my challenge is kind of turns them from hobby, from kind of side projects into, in a perfect case, like a full-time job for myself. And on this way, I'm going definitely to explore, just to discover all these different business models, which I just told you, memberships. It's not just you have to have a good idea how to market it, because if you just create a membership section on your free service, probably it will just make no sense. It's how you split the services, what should be for free, what should not be for free, where should you charge your customers. And you should be really very clever when you will be doing this, because this is like the devil is in details here, and this is how good can you feel your market, how good would you feel your customers. And it's not about fooling people, like just with the aim to charge money, from just charge them money, and because you need money. This is just a stupid argument. It's about helping people, really solving their problems. And in some cases, I could imagine, to solve your customer's problem, you would go and maybe buy some external services from other providers. And this is how you can explain. And of course, while doing it, you can have your own cut from it. And this is like a perfect case for a kind of higher plan, where you would provide to your customer, explain it in a very reasonable way. And it would be because you are also buying this kind of external services to help them. This is why it's more expensive to you, dear customer. And if you just playing with numbers and playing tricks on customers, you think it should be more expensive because you think so, because you need more money. In most of the cases, it will be immediately discovered by customers, and they will not really believe you. Some people will even pay it to you, but I would definitely spot this kind of behavior, and it's not really very nice. So yeah, this is like the concept of pricing and how this kind of SaaS services would go. Do you have any ideas, anything to share, any experience in this department of this kind of stuff? Hey, people, speak up. It's not about me. It's about you, about the community.
That's very interesting.
Hi, everyone. It's Vlad talking. I hope you hear me now. Okay,
Yeah.
just regarding your question, Karen, I think the most difficult part is to find a good idea, because all the great ideas are mostly already, I mean, not all of them, but many of ideas are already proposed and implemented in some way with someone, by someone. And yeah, sometimes you have a situation there, the idea is really great, but the implementation is crappy. Like I will suggest one good example. It's a meetup.com website, which is not that convenient. You always have troubles with it. The idea is great, but the implementation is not really great one. So maybe if you even don't have a good idea which you created yourself, but you take the idea from someone else and make it a bit with higher level implementation. I mean, the better implementation, the more robust service, or add some additional value to it, maybe you will succeed and can monetize then later on your idea, or the idea of someone, but which you realized a little bit better than the original author. So I think the most difficult is to find good ideas, or I mean, yeah, this is my point.
Okay, thank you, Vlad. I would agree with you on meetup.com that it's a crappy site and service, and I would completely disagree with you on the that ideas is the most important thing, and the businesses are already taken nowadays. I think it's one of the greatest misconceptions that everything is taken in business, or all opportunities are already, somebody already have a solution somewhere. I think it's like our universe is without any end, and it's constantly expanding. It's very much the same in the business world. There are all, like, sometimes probably you have your own example for this, but sometimes you would see some application or some kind of service, you would think like, what kind of person would use this crap? You know, it just makes no sense. And there are millions of people who are using it, and you cannot now, until now, you cannot get it how people could be interested in this kind of things. It just, it's one thing that if it's not catches with you, it shouldn't be like it, that it's not really. It just, for some people, it just makes sense, and the opportunities are almost like without any borders and any end. There are plenty of opportunities out there, and the best things I would say the best things are not yet developed. They are to be discovered, and maybe one of you is the person who will discover them. So yeah, sure. Cheers to your chair. Yeah. Yeah, I'm very serious about it, and it's just everything. And by the way, idea is not the most difficult thing. I think, there is this saying. I don't know who said it, but who knows what's the most precious, what's the most expensive place on Earth? And there are multiple places. Where is it?
No idea. No idea. The most
Okay.
expensive place
Yeah, so
in the earth.
almost every city or town or location has it. It's a cemetery.
Is it Japan?
No, it's a cemetery, where they put the dead
No, I
people.
don't know. My geographical knowledge are
No.
somehow limited here.
It has nothing. It's not a specific location. It's where they put
Okay.
to the earth the dead people. Cemetery.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, every location has it, and it's the place with the most precious place, because the reason is, it's about all these people who died with all these great ideas without implementing them.
That is rude.
So many people, so many people on Earth have great ideas, but they never do anything about them. They just come to them from time to time, like, yeah, that would be great. This service is actually crappy, which I'm using. I would come up with this and this service, which is much better. But I would never do this because, like, I'm stuck with my family, with my job. I don't have time, like, whatever. We have so many reasons to not do something what we think is right. So ideas, we have, like, many of us have different ideas, and just to start an idea, it's not really very difficult, especially when we talk about software and computers and this kind of stuff. And this is very crucial. If you know somehow how to program, this is like a huge advantage, because you shouldn't go and seek someone who would develop a prototype, develop a product for yourself, and put on table like many thousands of dollars or euros or whatever. You can just start on your own, mess with your code, like do something. We have nowadays so many frameworks which simplify the development process. There's this movement in technology which is called low code or no code. Basically, it's about putting stuff together without even coding, but then you have to know how to put them, because this is like the completely different system, which is like, it's not programming, but you have to learn how to operate and run this system to put stuff together. So it's not really very simple nowadays. Otherwise, everybody like would create their own applications like in no time. It's still kind of challenge, but if you know how to program, if you can learn how to program, very simple thing like starting with simple things, it's a huge advantage nowadays. Yeah, and it's not about like this. I don't think that idea is the most important thing. Like there is this recent saying of Elon Musk. He said like, we started Tesla on completely wrong ideas. Like the premises or the ideas which they took as their foundation turned out to be completely wrong, but then they shifted along the way to their business concept to the current model which they run now, and it seemed to work for them. So you can start with something. If your idea is very important, just to define the domain, the field, your passion, if you can associate yourself with this field. But the rest, like 90% of the success, and it's not my saying, like most of the successful entrepreneurs, if you would ask them, they would tell you that this is the hard work which you have to put down to achieve something. It's not, idea is the foundation, but you will not live on just on foundation.
Yes, I will agree on most of the point you just said. I worked around for 5 years in an agricultural company. I wanted to start something in Africa, and the idea was there. I even had the right people who wanted to contribute. I even had the right market, but the problem was how to make things running in that case. But there are always different other topic that come as parameter in the overall in your overall business. Maybe it's the idea for somebody because he don't have the idea, but he's able to operate a small business of 2-3 people, going to the right person, asking the right question. But for the other one, is just marketing is a problem. For another people, is getting money to start is a problem. Even because he already have the idea. For somebody, it's just because the risk of letting the family 1 year without any minimal resources is too high, and then they can just not move on. So there are many different aspects. Even the way you of the entrepreneur itself. So maybe you are somebody who have left, don't like to take a lot of risk, and so on. There are many parameters. I am also in the programming, development area, and get going in Cameroon now, and where I'm coming from, and making people writing code is not so complex, but it's not the only issue. As soon as it start, you have order. I want to sell it now. Okay. You already have the minimal valuable software, but you have to pitch somebody. Make sure that people are interested. Have the first feedback from customers. Do you have the time for that? Because at the end, you are doing it 20% of your time, and so on. So there are a ton of parameters. At the end, you will have to take some risk. You will have to find the right people who can join to take some part, or even have some good consulting or advice from people who have experience. So I think it's just by talking together like this and having in the you are in the in your concrete use case, having questions, asking questions to the people might help to move on. But I think that entrepreneurship is more about the person itself, and how this person will take the things that he want to achieve. Take the right people on board, ask the right question, learn quickly from the feedback he'd have, and so on. It's complex. So it's complex. It's sometimes easy. I mean, there are people who just succeed. There are a lot of people who are failing. As we are seeing every day, it's complex. But as you took the example of Elon Musk, people just want to start. People just start. Yeah, there are people who that just start, then they move on, learn quickly. But why is it possible for them? It's possible for them because they also have some resources. Somebody, a man like Elon Musk will have enough money, and he will say, okay, this is failing, I'll just start with something new. He has a really good process in his startup. He has a really good startup process. I do something, I fail, but I have a little bit money, I can just start again, and so on. It's This is for him is a is something that is there as a resource. For the other people, it's not available. So I cannot just start something and just fail and just restart every day. Here it's not, I don't have this room of opportunities, of money, of time to start. I don't have people who will help. So there are parameters, different people have different parameters. So this is just what I wanted to add as my own contribution. Yes, I just had to switch out my camera because my kids was jumping in the room in and out. So just
That's okay.
okay.
Uh, and by the way, Emerick, thank you very much for starting the conversation on the resources. And also, one of the concepts which I want to follow here in this group is to be frugal with your resources. And nowadays, I think you don't need much of resources. And whenever we talk about IT business, and especially like web-based or SaaS-based businesses, it's really, I strongly believe, because this is also my experience, you don't really need much resources to get started, you know. If especially if you're a developer, or if you want, I don't consider myself even developer. I'm not a developer. I'm somebody like, I would say, a higher level person with business models in the head, with the concepts. But I have to develop myself the code, because I don't want to involve and pay thousands of euros to other people to develop some tools which will be provided for free, and which will be just maybe, which will bring like 10 euros a day. Will be my income source, and I just too much of money. I don't want to dispose on this. That's why I think it's really very useful. It's not necessary, but it's very useful if you know how to code, at least like very simple. I mean, stuff like Python, PHP, they are pretty simple programming languages. We are not talking assembly language or machine code or crazy stuff like this. This is like what was going on 30, 40 years ago. Nowadays, pretty much all of the frameworks, they are very understandable and simple to grasp. And don't stick even to programming languages. There are like ready frameworks which you can take and use and set up. Even starting with WordPress. I mean, WordPress is a no-brainer. You don't need to code anything there. But you can start blogging, and it's a kind of thing which you can start to produce a content, and it's already something, you know.
I understand, but I mean, there are, for many use case it might be like you say, but I can just give you some example. You have a company want to start writing some software as a service for banking or for billing. There are already a lot of billing software in the market. How can you go into that market? You finish with your product, you finish development, maybe it's 5,000, 10,000 euro for development. But to go on the market, you have another big issue is about marketing. The other people are doing spending millions for marketing, just to be to go to the customers. It's something that people need. Maybe you already have interesting new innovation in your software that's not in the other product, but it's impossible to take only one person in the existing market because you are invisible. You're invisible. At that point, you need somebody that will just take your thing, go on the TV and show it. And that is money. This is one example. This is a case where you need money. There are another case where you just need ideas, as somebody else said. So there are always somewhere one parameter you want to fight with. You have to fight with.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
only okay, the code is already there. It's just you can have the code but you cannot sell, or you just put it and people use, wait 2-3 years and have some money, for example. But
Yeah.
it's just
Can
go
I
ahead.
add to that? You mentioned very early on, you mentioned something that is really, really important, and that's risk taking. When you said Elon Musk can experiment because by now he has so much money, he probably doesn't know what to do with it. And I feel that for a lot of people starting out, and I say that from the perspective that I come from a family background where there is no money, like no money. I once got the question of, well, someday you will get an inheritance. And I'm like, no, there is no inheritance. What kind of inheritance? So a lot of us need to build up kind of an income level or a wealth level to be able to take the risks. So my risk taking has fundamentally increased once I was able to build up some savings, and I feel this is a big hurdle for a lot of people, and I feel that this could be a topic for a future call, where why was from when on is it worth taking the risk? How can you mitigate risk? What kind of financial sources are available? I mean, even just talking to founders here in Berlin, some do it with like exist a foundation stipend, some just bootstrap, others go for it like big, and they go to the venture capital people and so forth. But even like, especially when you start out and you don't want to have like this big bang startup, what are your options, right? And how can you mitigate the personal risk and how that will affect you at the end of the day, so you don't put all of your savings for your old age into a business that might fail at some point. So that is a big point that I just wanted to underline at this moment here. And then I will need to exit the call because I have another call coming up. So I'm really sorry for that.
Okay.
I wanted to mention it before I exit.
Okay, thank you, Franziska, for your contribution. Yeah,
See you all again, and
yeah.
the new people. So
Bye.
Thank you.
Hi.
Bye.
See you.
That's a really very important point, which Emmerich started and Franziska continued. And I think, and this group, I was thinking about this group in a sense that about creating a bootstrapper community here. It's more like this hype is going on right now, that you can have an idea, find a couple of co-founders, pitch some nice venture capital or a business angel, get some crazy funding, and just start out like with a very good foundation. And you know how many companies are failing following this path? Like most of them. And in my opinion, it's not really very sustainable and healthy in this sense. In most of the cases, it's even driven by investors. Because imagine there are these rich guys living in our world which want to increase their money, and the best way to increase them is to invest them in a very high risk business, which will have high returns if they win in this business. And this is like a perfect opportunity for them to invest in this kind of startup companies. And yeah, some of them are unicorns, some of them are successful, but what we don't see are how many companies are failing, how many businesses are failing. And for the founders, it's not a big deal. They will just walk away. The thing didn't work. Most of them are almost invested themselves almost like nothing in these things. It's just, yeah, tried 1 or 2 years and didn't work, and that's it. I'm talking about a sustainable, healthy kind of business where you can start from small and grow from there. And it will take maybe longer period of time, but this learning curve which you will follow is much more valuable to you, because you will just start from the very basic things, and learn the whole thing, the whole path on top. And maybe you will fail at the end, but my experience is this kind of bootstrappers with I can understand, Emerick, when you want to target like a big concept or big target, you would definitely to start away. You will need a lot of money to have a team, because you have competition going on already. There are several companies which are probably successful in this domain, on this market. So you want to beat them. That's why you have to start really quickly and on scale. I can completely understand it, but why not to find some kind of niche which is not yet taken, because it's still under their big boys radar, which you can slowly start and have less investment, and have maybe a little bit slower growing going on. And there, I mean, like we can speak for hours and hours about this stuff, but I'm very strong proponent of this kind of slower going systems where you have full control over your stuff. Because once you take investment, it's not just it's not a gift from someone. They will take parts of your company, of your idea, of your concept, and they will take part of the control of it. So now, from now on, you will have to report regularly, and the whole thing, to create a business plan, to even pitch companies, like it takes so much time. You could use this time, if you're a developer, you could use this time just developing your prototype, actually doing the stuff. And I'm very passionate about these things. I think we can achieve a lot by starting with small, and with the communities like this. What I find really difficult, if you start on your own, and you are being captured like completely in your own environment, in your own bubble, you in your idea, like all the time. After work, you would go and do your idea. You will not. You will sacrifice your communication to your peers just to spend time to work for your idea. I think it's also very difficult with me, because I need some kind of cheering up from some other people, from some other peers. I have a lot of expertise as well, where I can support uh, also the community, the peers, and that's why this is the aim of this kind of group, to support each other on this way. Uh, it shouldn't take like a lot of our time. It's not only about blah blah and stuff and networking. It's about developing ourselves and supporting each other, pushing ourselves further, and pulling ourselves like to the success. And I think it's really very healthy, and it's very sustainable if you start from small and grow from there, rather than just start from a big bank, uh, like a lot of money, and then you have to like crazy run and search all these IT specialists which are already taken. And you shouldn't just take someone, you have to take talented ones who are really difficult to get, and good luck. And then you will lose some part of control to your company. I think just, yeah, there are just different paths, and rather than just to go from the very beginning for a big bang, you could start with a simpler idea, something what you really know very well, maybe not as ambitious, get successful there, learn your lessons there, or on a small price, And once you are successful in your small niche, you can grow from there. You can still, after a couple of years, 3 years, you can still target this another idea, which is bigger one. It's also how it's about selecting your ideas which you want to persuade, which you want to follow. Choose an idea which has a potential to grow like further. Like it's if you take, I don't know, if you want to create something very small, it's also very doable. Maybe you can quickly achieve success there. But if there is no way further, once you got to the success, then it's getting difficult. Then you have to, I don't know, you stuck at some point maybe. It's about choosing the ideas which you want to follow. Nice ideas, they would have different stages. You would achieve one stage, it would be like finite stage, you could claim it as a success, and then from there you can go to the next stage higher, for a bigger target, and still stay in the same domain, basically doing the same thing, serving the same customers. So what, guys and girls, do you think about it?
I think it's good.
Thank you.
No kids around. So, so I just wanted to first say thank you for inviting people in a room. It's not an easy task for organizing this kind of meetup, bringing people together and trying to make something running. I think that this first hour was like I had the opportunity to know other people's. Understand what they want to achieve. My opinion, as what you said before, I think it might be sufficient at the beginning, as you said, start small. It will be sufficient if we had another meeting like this. People will think about it because I mean, all of us had this 1 hour. Think about it and maybe organize the next. Not maybe, but organize the next, and just discuss again. And people we will probably come with idea about the structure. Is also a matter of resources for what we want to achieve. So with the time, we will see how much resource in each of us can concretely invest to make things running. So it's most important for me at the beginning that we first start like we are starting. We just started invite like this, that we have another one. Think about what happened today, and have another one come with new ideas, and think about what you just said concerning the structure, and see how we can move on with that. That we just think about it. As you said in German, darüber schlafen oder yes, exactly, something like that. Think about it, but that we have another where we can meet again and just talk.
Yeah.
This is my point of view about it.
Yeah, so I'm also more interested in like Karen, you have experience in those like company establishment, and then you know what kind of company types in Germany you can apply for and stuff. And actually, I would like to know more about this. For example, there are some like GmbH AG and so on, like mini GmbH. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe next time you can try to talk a little bit about this and how people can find the correct type of company to start with and so.
Okay, I just wrote it down, the different kind of incorporations. I would call it probably what is when should you register a company, when at which point you can run as a self-employed. Probably this is what is interesting. Yeah, I just wrote it down. We will need to have one like meetup completely on this topic.
Yeah, and like which one you need to hire accountant, and then what kind of expenses you will be expecting and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's also interesting to have some idea on basic principles to start a bootstrap business, which will facilitate the development of the business. Like what you have to take as a best practices if you started your started your business. Like example, just to concentrate on a broad public, not a narrow one. For example, choose the English language as the language of your service or communication in order to address more people and not stay just in your community, like in some specific language. Maybe it can be one of the such principles, like the main rules you have to follow in order to success faster.
What is this bootstrap stuff?
This is when you start the business without investors. Like, it's called bootstrap, like with your own money.
Oh, okay.
So this is also maybe one of the possible topics for the next meetings.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about it, and it's a kind of part of I would say part of the group which will going throughout the whole life cycle or life of the group, which will be applied pretty much to every business which we can share here. And I want to stress one thing also about this group, that it's not only like there are so many groups like this also in Nuremberg and worldwide, just general entrepreneurial startup blah blah. You know, I'm more excited about like a real exchange. Like it's not shouldn't be pure theory. There definitely will be some part of theory, but it's down to the earth. You know, it's to have some concrete, some specific examples, some pain points of somebody starting something, or even you had this idea like the last 3 years, you never just trusted yourself to start it, to do something there. That will be like kick under your butt now in this kind of group to actually start something. Start not just something what you always wanted to start. And we will be catching up, like we will be synchronizing ourselves like periodically, maybe once a month, maybe once in 2 months, maybe once in 2 weeks. And if you want, you can share your progress and we will cheer you up and maybe share some ideas. You cannot imagine, like even I have like years and years of experience in my businesses, in my niches. Whenever I talk to some other people and tell them about my stuff, it's always that they say something but just explodes my mind, what I never could recognize or see, and some small tip would just really help me a lot, will open my eyes. Or I see Donk is joining us. Hi Donk.
Hi.
Hi
Hey,
Donk.
you
Sorry.
managed. Very nice. So yeah, if you want, you can just quickly introduce yourself and.
So my name is Don. I work as a developer, mostly on backend. Recently, I also worked a little bit on the front-end project. Yeah, I want to know a little bit of this entrepreneurs world and know what other people are thinking about, and to see if there's something I can do or help with, or other people can help me with. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just maybe a quick pitch about the group. I took the group over from other person who left it uh, just in December, and the group was passive. There was no meetups going on, not a single one. And my idea is to have a kind of mastermind group of same-minded people who want to be free, essentially, in a sense that they will run something and do something what they're passionate about, what they can completely like pay their bills and live from it. And it will be primarily targeted. This is like my concept. Maybe you have different ideas. It's also okay. I'm very passionate about creating of products, IT, web-based and cloud, sometimes even cloud-based products, which will run, which will collect all of your ideas. You will put your concepts there. It will run without your intervention, like the whole day, and help people solve their problems. And from time to time, you will just patch them, develop new features, stuff like this. Something what you really like, something what you know, knowledgeable, some field where you are knowledgeable in your domain, according to your passion, something like this. And it's not about like training your pitch here, like how you would come across to your investors or whatever. It's about starting today, doing some small stuff. You're a developer, you have a huge advantage. And I would recommend everyone, if you can learn some programming language which will help you to develop prototype or your product, at least start. It's a huge advantage. I would always recommend this kind of stuff. And I believe to start an idea on a specific idea in IT field, you don't need much. And I would say you can start with a laptop, a chair, and a coffee. That's in my opinion, that's all you need to start.
Guys, I have to
Right.
move on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
Just say bye bye because
yeah,
I also have to move to for Friday. But again, thank you very much. I hope we will have a next meeting together. I'm just hearing for what is going on the next time.
yeah. That's the
Bye.
plan. See you next
Bye bye.
time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Okay.
Bye.
So if anyone has anything to share, any
You mean the,
critics,
you mean the idea already, or
yeah, I
the
mean,
business
even
idea?
idea. Let's crack this first kickoff meetup with idea. Do you have any idea?
Just general thoughts that uh, what you can earn money from in nowadays in having such a IT business. It's almost either a content in web or some service, I guess. You are not producing something material. You are producing some service or some content. So in order to start a bootstrap business and develop yourself without having a huge starting capital, you have to concentrate either on the content creation or some web services creation, maybe. But which one, I don't have a concrete idea right now. Yeah, I mean, besides those ideas which we run with you, Karen, together, by the way, I'm helping Karen a little bit with his ideas. I'm a little bit involved in his business as well, but I don't have any concrete new ideas right now. But I think it's good point you mentioned that we can exchange ideas and collect some feedback, because now, if you came up with some idea and never spoke it out and you don't know if it has any value. I mean, for you, sure, it has some value, but you don't know if it will succeed outside of yourself. You have to check it against some other opinions to collect some feedback. And maybe this group, it's a nice place to exchange such ideas. I visited once, if you remember, Karen, we were together. We visited once one meetup in Nuremberg, which was also something like a startup meetup. But when we realized after 10 minutes that the guys are going to sell membership, like in this meetup, like you have to pay 20 euros or whatever to visit every meetup, and what they offer, actually, it was the like troubleshooting sessions about your business ideas. I think this is so stupid. I mean, we don't have this for sure. I mean, we exchange the freely opinions and we benefit each other of us because maybe you say you speak your idea out and it will maybe push myself to some other ideas and the other way around, so we can help each other. Maybe if I speak out my idea and collect some valuable feedback, I can improve it later. Or maybe we can build also, potentially we can also build joint teams, like the Emerick mentioned that sometimes you are great in programming, but you don't have a very talented marketer, someone who will do marketing for you. So maybe we can also find peers and build some teams even out of this meetup.
Oh, I don't know. I think everyone definitely has his own or her own idea, and I would just suggest to work on this idea. Or maybe if you have several ideas, you can. I like, for example, I have like explosion of ideas going on. Like every time when I go to shower, I would just my head is exploding with ideas, and the only good thing I can do at this moment is just to get out of the shower and write it on the paper, not just to lose it later. Um, that's why for me, like, ideas are never the problem. It's the perseverance to make them a success. To this is like idea is a 5 to 10% of your success. And of course, if you have a stupid idea, probably like the chances are really high that you will end up this kind of disaster. But if you have a good idea, if you have your passion behind this idea, because it's let's talk shortly about this. And whenever we have this kind of groups like startups, meetup groups, people are very afraid to share their ideas because they think that somebody can steal them. And I think it's a very big misconception, because if you think about something, about some concept, like for the last couple of years, because ideas, it's not like yesterday you just got one idea, in next day you are already pitching people with this idea, want to develop it and gather some money and whatever. It's normally it takes time until you have a crisp idea, until you have a crystallized idea what you want to do. So maybe last 2 years you were ideating on this idea, you was pregnant with this, and now you are afraid to go out and speak to different people because you think somebody will steal it. It can even happen, but the chances are almost minuscule that they will be successful with this idea, because you have your passion behind this, and you have your knowledge behind this. This is something what would make you successful, because you are completely involved into it. And if someone just heard some interesting idea and will next day will proceed and do something about it, it's maybe just at some time they will face definitely some difficulties, and they will just give up because it's not their ideas. They're not crazy about it. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, it was a stupid idea. They can even blame the person who shared it, and they will go on with their life. This is what I believe, and that's why I think you shouldn't be so afraid to share your ideas, because the feedback which you will get in return is so much more than this this
Risk.
afraidness to lose this idea to someone. That this risk, exactly. Yeah.